Hello there and welcome to Suffolk Business Life. My name's Craig Sennett and with me today is Tony Cheung. Hello Tony.
Hi there Craig. Hi.
Reason for Tony being here today is basically I want to talk to him about something that I know he's involved in, which is Roundtable. So I suppose really in your own words, could you tell me what Roundtable is?
Yeah, sure. Roundtable is like an organisation of, I suppose, young men, professionals, who get together, and there's various aspects to it, really. I mean, one side of it is a social aspect, where you can get together and have a bit of fun, but the other aspect is a sort of a charitable side, where you're kind of fundraising and putting something back to the local community.
So is Roundtable a charity itself then?
Yeah, I mean it is in itself, but principally, it's all about people getting together.
Yeah. So Roundtable itself would raise money for kind of local projects and stuff like that, and hand that money to other charities essentially.
Definitely.
Okay.
I mean, as a fundraising kind of aspect to it all, and then it's also about giving it back to the community. Yeah.
So is there sort of a kind of overall strategy in place of how you go? Because obviously charities, they plan quite heavily to go and do fundraising. I assume sort of Roundtable's got some sort of similar framework and plan that sort of everyone works to, sings the same sheet sort of thing?
Well, the thing is with Roundtable is that it's quite interesting because there's about 700 of them in the UK, and it's not just a UK thing as well. Okay. I only found out fairly recently that it's an international thing too, and each Roundtable is really governed by the members themselves and how they go about their efforts and their activities. And so for our roundtable in Ipswich, Greyfriars, we have a big aspect swing towards having fun, getting together, but also there's a big movement behind raising substantial funds and then putting that back into local charities to those in need.
With it being a kind of sort of the scale of it by the sounds of it, I mean, is there any kind of sort of top-down politics, or kind of is the organisation locally just left to do as it pleases?
I'm sure there is some kind of overarching membership body, because there is a roundtable body, but to be honest, I get the impression each roundtable is really left to their own to their own ideas, and they get on with their own activities.
And how long have you been in it?
I've officially, been with Roundtable just a little over a year, but I've been invited along to take part in various events over the period of about a couple of years or so. Yeah.
Okay, right. So why did you join? What sort of attracted you to it then?
Well, I suppose I was fairly anxious about it, to start off with, because I've never heard of it before. And I had to, I got this impression that maybe it was some kind of society, and I didn't really know if I wanted to be associated with it. But in the early days, I was invited as a guest, and so I could literally take part and find out what's happening, how you go about business, and then really after uncovering, from the those fears, I suppose, that it's just a great bunch of guys that go about principally, having fun, socialising, having a drink, doing some networking, but also there's the other side, which is a considerable effort towards charity fundraising and then helping out the local community. Yeah.
Because some of the people I know that are involved in it sort of said that the Roundtable locally raises around sort of somewhere around £20,000 a year just for local causes, which is a sizable amount, especially considering times are a bit difficult, and people don't have as much spare money to put in the charity buckets and stuff like that. It's probably quite a worthwhile thing to a lot of charities.
Definitely. I mean, it's a serious amount of money, and in terms of the choices that table make behind how we raise the money, who we give it back to, and the effort, it's quite remarkable actually, and it's a worthy cause in itself. For myself and my circumstances, it was difficult at the start because I'm a busy chap. I'm responsible for a UK office of a German company, so that takes up a lot of time at work. I've got family responsibilities too, so that takes up some time too. But this was a good opportunity to spend some time, only once a fortnight, so it doesn't have to be too much, yet I get an opportunity to, make friends with a bunch of great guys, go and try out some new stuff, activities, have a drink, have a laugh, but also have an opportunity to give something back as well.
With the sort of setup of Roundtable, I mean, was it a business colleague that mentioned it to you, a friend, or sort of how did you get involved? Was it just someone you know, or
it was a couple of things really. First of all, it was addressed to me by a contact at our bank, through work. We had a meeting, and then as we got I suppose a little closer and became friends, there was awareness of this group available in Ipswich that he invited me to come along.
And in terms of sort of, you mentioned sort of once a fortnight, sort of everyone sort of gets together. I mean, is that on a specific day? Is it, or?
Well, I mean, each table's different. We choose a Monday night, so it's not impinging on your weekend commitments with family. Yet it's not too overarching, during the week.
There's not a lot to do on a Monday night, so it's probably one of the better nights to do it, to be honest. Yeah.
It's not a bad choice. It's not a bad choice.
You mentioned something earlier about Roundtable sort of being international. I mean, do you, or do you know of other sort of roundtablers that have got out to see sort of life outside of England within the group, sort of thing? I
mean, Roundtable, now I'm part of it. That you kind of recognise and realise now that it's a massive movement behind it. I mean, apparently there's everything from I think it's 65 countries that it touches upon. Okay. There's roundtables in far afield places like Hong Kong, India, Brazil. Okay. So it's really interesting. Ourselves at Greyfriars Ipswich, we're twinned with a Luxembourg table, and it's quite fun. They're very hospitable, and sometimes we do exchange visits.
So you get involved with some of the international side, obviously commitments pending and all the rest of it, sort of thing.
Definitely, the opportunities are there too. Yeah.
So is there a typical type of person that would join Roundtable, or is it can it be like pipe fitter? Can it is it we understand it's essentially a sort of male organisation sort of thing. Is it literally any guy that's out there can sort of join, or come along and have a look sort of thing, or do you have to be in a profession or own your own business or anything like that?
No, there's no boundaries like that at all. There's really for everyone and anyone. In our table, we've got all types. We've got people who are just regular Joe Bloggs, who's just an employee. We've got people who are self-employed, so they're trying to, make business that way. And we've got people who are really influential, who are directors of really large companies and really important people. So all of the above. I mean, your work status or your professional status doesn't come into it at all.
It must be quite interesting though, because one of the things people that I've interviewed on the show beforehand, one of the things that comes out of it, particularly for self-employed or small business owners, it can be quite a lonely place. You sort of have your family and your friendship group sort of thing, but quite often you don't have other people to share ideas with. Do you find, so in that aspect it must be very good, but do you find, professionally it can sort of help at all? If you need to know a lawyer, or for argument's sake or something like that, is there one there that you can sort of, bend the ear of?
Well, no, yeah, there is, and it's that old adage of knowing who to speak to, and at table you've got a great bunch of guys who, you can maybe not only have a friendship, but then also maybe share some trust with and actually discuss some open matters. And in fact, some of the ethos behind the setup of Roundtable was to have people come together, young men come together, share ideas, discuss and improve. I think the motto is adopt, adapt, improve. So that means if you've got something that you're trying to get through, or whatever that may be, it's about learning those issues and sharing them, and then seeing if there's any other ideas on how to improve it or to resolve the issue, and then improve it or adapt to it.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of sort of networking groups, and I kind of get the impression that Roundtable's not really a business networking group. Essentially, it's but there are kind of people that will benefit commercially out of being involved and stuff like that. As a group, is it very formal? I mean, there's certain networking organisations where you kind of have to go every week or every Roundtable being a fortnightly thing. they have to go every fortnight? Is there a rigidly set structure that people have to adhere to?
Well, I mean, first point, it's not primarily a business networking venue. I guess it's just a natural thing that when you're with a group of other people, that you can use the opportunity to network if you want to. In terms of formalities, there's very little, especially in our table that I know of anyway. There's only a little bit of formality just to give it a bit of structure as to who makes decisions and who gets things organised. But really, it's take it or leave it as much as you please. There's no register that you have to sign in every time you go to an event. If you're not available or you've got commitments at home or you're busy at work, you're welcome to join or take a break from it as you please.
So if someone wanted to join, is there kind of a process they go to, or I know you guys have got a website, it's ipswichroundtable.co.uk, and you're on Facebook and things like that. Is it literally a case of someone's sitting at home seeing this, thinking, you know what, I'd like to go and see what it's about? They just email the website, get hold of someone on the Facebook group, and and just literally turn up, sort of thing.
Yeah, no. Nowadays it's so much easier as well, because you could not just come along and be invited to come along and take part in an event. You can look at the Facebook page and look at the photos and get a feeling for some of the things that we get up to. But like I said, each table is individual to your own area. So find your local table and get in touch with somebody there, either on the phone, or if it's more convenient these days just to email somebody, or even a Facebook message. Get in touch, and then they'll probably let you know when the next event is, and then ask you to be there at that time, and they'll introduce you to the crowd. Also, if you like it, you can then take it further. Also, on your website, there's I noticed there's a kind of calendar of events showing sort of what sorts of things are coming up and that. I mean, with Roundtable, predominantly to many people will be Rudolph. It's known around Christmas time. It's the Roundtable guys going around raising money with the big Rudolph sleigh. It's big. I remember it as a kid. I mean, most people will have seen it at some point. I mean, with what other things have you got involved in as a group then? What sort of other activities or or things have you been involved in? I guess what's been highlights for me, even though I've only been a member for a relatively short period of time, is getting the chance to do some things that I never got around to doing. Okay. I know things like scuba diving, and I never tried it. Yeah. Had a go. Actually, it's not that difficult. Yeah. Fencing. Yeah. Okay. Sounds a bit poncy, I have to admit, but actually, it's kind of a lot of fun. Yeah. And we had a good night out, trying it out and actually having a laugh at the same time. So I can tick that off to say I've done that. So you kind of get the sort of social aspect of it, because I mean, originally you sort of mentioned earlier you have three kind of sort of areas to it. You have your sort of social side, so I assume that would be scuba diving, fencing, drinks down a pub, sort of golf or something like that, or any sort of random assortment of that. How do the business and the other sort of aspects fit in? So there's the business meetings, which are as formal as most of the guys are asked to turn up in the shirt and tie to the meetings. But there you're getting together, having a meal, and then probably discussing an agenda on what are we doing about our charity fundraising. And which charities are we selecting to donate our raised funds towards. So it's important decisions like that, but really that only happens a couple of times during the course of the year. The other kind of meetings that we have are dinner meetings. So there, instead of having a casual get together, it's we're going to have a nice meal together. So again, possibly put on a suit for a sit down meal sort of sit down meal, have a suit, have a suit on, and but it gives you a little bit of variety, and that's what I like about it, is that it's not the same old every time. There's somebody in the background trying to come up with new ideas and watching out for other things to try. So you get a chance to, with the sort of sit-down dinner meetings and business meetings, are they always at the same venue, or does it vary? You get to see a few different places around the local area? That's the beauty of it for me, is that you get to try out all these different places. And some of these places that, you might uncover, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, that's a nice place. I'll take the missus there next time. It's always handy. Always handy. I mean, in terms of it,
sort of commitment-wise, I mean, what sort of commitment is there then? I mean, there must, ultimately you've got to turn up, sort of thing, at some point. Is it literally as open and relaxed as people turn up as much as they can, or can you miss 1 in 3, or I mean, how does it work?
There are no set rules. There's no set rules, and there's no set penalties either. So if your circumstances are that you can't afford the little time that it takes, no one's going to bother you too much. I mean, you'll still be reached out to for the emails and the contacts for what's happening. But I personally would recommend that it's one of those things where you get out of it as much as you put in.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you spend time not just enjoying yourself, but actually enjoying the company of the others, you never know what might rub off. For myself, I can remark on a couple of occasions where, I was doing some fundraising, but there I managed to bump into one of my customers, from Bury St Edmunds. It was just a chance meeting, and then another incident was probably going along to the charity ball. So it's about putting the effort towards that, making that a success. And lo and behold, some of the guests from one of the other table members was one of my key customers.
So actually did you organise this ball, or was it one that Round Table kind of turned up en masse to? Was it? Oh
no, this was an event that Round Table organised and put on. It was actually at Ipswich Town Football Club.
Okay, right.
It's just one of the variety of things that we end up getting involved in, or actually hosting. Yeah.
And with this, I mean, essentially, you're sort of mentioning about raising sort of £20,000 for purely local causes. Which types of sort of charities, or organisations have benefited from that? I mean, I know of a couple from other people that I've talked to.
I mean, East Anglian Children's Hospital is a big one in our area, but we've also got the Thomas Wolsey School. We've got the Dame Vera Lynn Trust, which is for cerebral palsy children. They need a bit of help from us, but it doesn't have to be big name charities like that either.
I know some of the smaller ones that you've helped out, like Survivors in Transition and stuff like that, and I know in the past there's been a bit of big tie-in on the larger ones with like Each and Thomas Wolsey and stuff. Someone I do know was saying that there was a child with quite severe back trouble. She was recovering from an operation, and Round Table had basically largely helped out with funding of a bed for her recovery and a few other things as well. And from what I understand with Round Table, where they've been quite fortunate is at the end of a lot of these fundraising things where charities that kind of need that last little push to get them over the milestone, Round Table have been able to step in with the last sort of sums quite often to see a project reach completion.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I suppose, fulfilling, to sort of know that your efforts, the little effort that you need to put in, results into making such a big difference to some people. I mean, it was only last year when we actually bought 15 beds for people who didn't actually have beds to sleep on. So that is very compassionate, and you get a big kick out.
It must be quite a humbling thing to know that you've had a laugh with a group of people of similar age, got kids and stuff, probably similar types of people to yourself, and along the way you've made this money that's turned into such big life-changing things for people locally as well, which I think is a big thing.
I think it's an important thing. I mean, the fact that it's local is neither here nor there to some people, but actually, I get a sense of I'm doing my bit for putting something back into the community.
And having a laugh while you're doing it as well. So
having a great time,
skin diving and fencing and stuff like that, while sort of helping out must be a very nice thing. I mean, commercially, sort of people that may run their, a lot of people view the show, people in business run their own company and stuff like that. I mean, have you benefited commercially from it, or is it a case that other people within the group do, and it's that's not a main motivator for you joining it?
It wasn't a key motivator for me joining, but I suppose indirectly, you just don't know what might come of it. Networking is an important thing to doing business. Developing relationships and developing a bit of trust, and the fact that you're out there, not necessarily promoting yourself, but explaining to people, what is it you're doing and what the current climate's like. It's a great opportunity for you to I suppose voice and slightly advertise, what it is that you do in your profession. For me personally, I've not picked up new customers or anything like that for my business.
It's quite niche though, isn't it? So it's
it's a big German software company, it's not an everyday kind of thing. But out of it, I've recognised that there's been mutual customers where some of the other tablers are actually working with the same customer. I've got good contacts for things outside of, or slightly to the side of doing business, so such as relationships with accountants, solicitors, even other things that you might need, things at home even.
Okay. So it must be quite odd, you sort of turn up to your first round table. I mean, we use the fencing example, and you sort of see one of your customers on the other end of the sorting. Is it? I mean, it's a great thing in terms of networking. That's the kind of stuff you won't get with other networking groups around here at all, because normally you're on the other end of a bacon salami instead of a sword. It's so it must be very good for building friendships with people and kind of removing some of the typically commercial barriers that people see. Yeah, no,
I think it definitely is a great way of combining those two extremes together in one movement. And the great thing is that everybody who is a tabler understands that and contributes towards it. So either they contribute, focusing on the social aspects of it, or they're maybe self-employed. They need to share what they're currently doing, and you never know. In passing word, you may actually help them secure some business or introduce them to someone else who's looking for their needs. And guess what? You become a trusted advisor to that person.
As much the old adage in business, not what you know, who you know, sort of thing.
Definitely.
Obviously, one of the things we mentioned earlier, Roundtable, very, very locally associated with Rudolph. Is that still the case every year? Is it still the Roundtable people running around, is it?
Well, you see, I wasn't raised locally in Suffolk, so when I first heard about Rudolph nearing the Christmas periods, I thought, okay, sounds Christmas related, but really, what is it? And then you go and recognise that it's an entire trailer with Santa in his sleigh, and there's mock-up Rudolph with flashing lights, and then big speakers with Christmas tunes singing out of it. It's a sight to see, and I can understand why it's such a big draw for all the people inside Ipswich to come out their streets, out the street in the dark evenings and see Santa go by. It's a great cause. It's a great draw, but actually taking part and having that bucket in your hand, and it's cold, it's dark, but you knock on that front door of those people's houses, and you see the smiles in those little faces, just to be inspired by seeing Santa go along.
As a parent myself, I know what a sort of big deal it is to young kids to see that sort of thing. And I suppose in a way it kind of signifies that Christmas is almost there as well.
It does.
It's that sort of precursor to it. Really.
There's a lot of effort going on in the background to get organised and getting those kinds of people out in the streets to help, help out with this the Rudolph run. But all those bits of change that end up in the buckets, when they times that by the number of buckets times by the number of evenings, that's contributes a lot towards the big sums of money that Roundtable raises.
So is Roundtable looking for new members? Is it are they open to talking to new charitable organisations and things like that? If someone's watching this and thinking, I'm at loose end on a Monday, I know there's an age bracket of essentially 18 to 45, I think.
Roughly,
sort of any guy sitting there thinking, I'm at loose end on a Monday, I'd like to go, regardless of what they do career-wise, is it simply a case of just get in touch?
No, it definitely is. Get in touch and have a try. Again, there's nothing to force feed you to sign up or
there's no
get a membership
with it. It's just a bunch of guys, and through what you do, you raise this very rewarding sum of money for local projects and local community.
Yeah, whilst having a great time at the same.
Is it? In terms of cost-wise, is there big upfront fees or anything like that to join? What's the sort of cost of joining?
No. The only fees involved when you do decide to join, when you feel comfortable enough to say, I want to be part of Roundtable, is that there's a standing order of £25 in our case, and that helps towards the membership. and actually covers the meals that we have. So in other words, when we have a Monday night and we have, say, a dinner meeting, so there's a whole bunch of us, we book this restaurant and we get organised, we actually end up probably not paying on top of that for the actual dinner.
So that £25 comes out of the subsidy you pay, your dinner comes out of that essentially.
Exactly.
So, okay, right, that's good.
So,
well, it's been lovely to have you on board. Thank you very much for coming in and particularly telling us about Roundtable. I know it's been Roundtable's been a big part of Ipswich for for decades and decades, and so it's very good to meet with you, talk to you, get a bit of an understanding of it. So if anyone at home, sort of 18 to 45-ish sort of area, wants to get rid of the loose end they could be out on a Monday, by all means get in touch with them. It's through Facebook or ipswichroundtable.co.uk. And thanks very much for coming in, Tony.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.